Hi guys and welcome to my YouTube channel. So I'm really excited that the Building Your Wealth event actually went well. The MC was so amazing. One thing that I was really scared about is that people came in late, but people actually came in at the same time. So when the first speaker came in, everybody was already there, and we had Vivienne as the first speaker.
The first things I want you to understand is the outline of what I'm going to be talking about and what you will be getting from this presentation when I'm done. So firstly, you understand my background, where I come from, and the reason I'll be explaining my background is just so that you can understand the context of the things I'm about to explain to you. And then I will then discuss what having the right money mindset means to me, how to change your mindset about money, linking your money mindset with your relationship with money, because those are two different things. It's easy to just merge it into one thing, but they're actually two different things and they serve two different purposes. And if you eventually want to have a chat or whatever, how you'll be able to reach us to probably have a chat. And I was raised by a single mother, which is what shaped what I became today. I was fortunate, my father didn't leave us. My father actually passed on when I was very, very young. So at that time, money was not an object. It was not a problem. It was things were just looking great. But I'm actually grateful for the teachings that came with his passing, because when he passed away, life changed dramatically. So I come from a family of 3 siblings, including myself. And yeah, when my father passed away, my mom was left by herself to provide for us, and my mom wasn't the wealthiest of the wealthiest. Fortunately, we were left with just enough to stay in a nice house at least, still have a car to drive there and there, but financially it wasn't the same. It was rough, you know? And something started changing in my mind, where as I grew up, I realized that no man, things are definitely not the same. This feels like poverty, and I vowed to myself, I will never, ever, ever live in this poverty again. And this is my time to start moving into a different part of my life and changing my narrative for myself and for the generations that are coming after me. And yeah, I got married young, so I am married. I've been married now for the past, I don't know how many years, since 2017. I just started working. It was my first job working, but I screwed up terribly. And I'm saying this because I want you to understand that in as much as you might have screwed up, there is a way out. Yeah. There is definitely a way out. And it doesn't always have to take a very long time for you to come out of the mess that you put yourself in. Because some of the mess we actually create ourselves. Let me admit, I created my own mess. Very much so. All right, getting into what money mindset means to me. I think the first part of starting to understand the money mindset is to understand the word mindset. I don't want to deal with this conversation more as a textbook type of conversation. It's basically going to be a little bit more experience-based, just so that you're able to get into the real-life examples of how things can fold out. But I had to put in a dictionary definition of what mindset is. And I'm going to read it out for you. A habitual or characteristic mental attitude that determines how you will interpret and respond to situations. And in this case, the two most important words for me here is attitude and respond. Because the entire concept of a money mindset is how you respond to money. That's the entire, or the sum total of it. It's not a thing of, I've got this much money, got that much money. You could have the least amount of money. And I'm just going to give an example. When I started working, I wasn't even earning like so much. I think I was earning something like 9,000 or 10,000 rand, something in those lines. And it wasn't about then how much money I was making. It was about how I had to learn to manage that money. I think that is why I ended up in like terrible financial decisions, because I didn't have the management part of it at that point, because my mindset was not in the right place. my response and my attitude in terms of how I saw my money was totally off, which is why I made the mistakes that I made in my past. And let me actually highlight some of the mindsets I carried when I was actually in that part of my life that is in the past. Because right now, I mean, we can see the glow up is real, right?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. I think at that time, when I saw money as a power tool. What I mean by that is, when I got my first job, all of a sudden I can afford. I don't need anybody to take care of me. I get married, but I still feel like I don't need you to take care of me. I need you just to stay there and love me, because I've got my own power to do anything I want when I want to. And I mean, that is not probably the best way of going about things, because, and I'm not going to just talk about money as a standalone thing, because the money mindset encompasses your entire lifestyle. Your whole life actually is determined by how you manage your money and all the other characteristics of managing your entire life. You can't put money as just a subset or as an element that exists on its own. It is not possible to isolate money from the rest of your life. So yeah, it was a power tool, and what I essentially did with that is I almost destroyed my marriage, because can you imagine how demeaning it is for a man if you are going to tell them, just be there. Don't take care of me. Like, I can do that myself. I can just go and buy myself a car when I need a car. I can afford to buy myself a house. Like, I don't really need you. I just need you to just know that I love you for you. And for those who are married, you'll know. The original design of a man is just to provide, and that's where his ego sits, right? So, like I said, this almost destroyed, firstly, my household. Secondly, my how I actually manage my money to fix myself. And I know my problem is the money. Once I get money, I go mad. So let me disarm myself of this power that possesses me and makes me go mad. When I got my salary, believe it or not, I took all my salary, gave it to my husband, and said, you give me an allowance. Going forward, I'm taking an allowance. You have my salary. Firstly, that was teaching me submission. Secondly, that was teaching me management of the little I had, because I knew, okay, I had to manage that little allowance that he was giving me so that I can make it to the next month. So that means, all right, I can't go to every single event that everybody invites me to. So I gave my husband my entire salary, and I'm like, dude, you make sure, like all I ask of you, make sure that the household is sorted out. We don't want problems, yeah? We don't want to be owing anything. Just make sure that that entire household is sorted. And what that did for the household is tremendous, because all of a sudden, cash flow that we didn't know we had now is there. Because then the power of unity started kicking in. Initially, we were managing our finances separately, you know? But now we realize, all right, actually, dude, like we have so much more money that we can push other things with, which is one of the contributing factors to making us pay our house and our cars in 4 years, you know? Because we realize now we have some excess capacity. And I mean, until I made that choice, we probably wouldn't have realized, would have been like, okay, we got a mortgage, we can pay it off in 20 years, so what? But now, he realizes, hey, I must also come to the party. This is the sacrifice she's made. And I mean, I'm fortunate that I didn't have a runaway husband who's like, oh, all right, you built me, I'm out, you know? But like the principle I wanted to highlight here was the principle of the unity. What unity can do in terms of building, what unity can do in terms of your money. I think now let's deal with your the difference between your relationship with money and your mindset with money. we'd already defined that your money mindset is around your response to money. Your relationship with money, though, is not the response to money, but how you fellowship with your money, because relationships are about fellowship. So now, if I think about how do I spend time with my money, to most people it's like a foreign concept. When you sit and write down those budgets, when you sit there and journal and tell your money what to do, you're actually instructing your money. You're actually telling your money what it needs to do. When I'm writing down a budget, I'm like, I need to pay this installment. I need to save this much. I need to invest this much. I'm telling my money, I'm literally telling my money what I want it to do for me. And that also is cultivating the whole principle of money management. Now, what tools did I use to fix my life? Firstly, was the Bible. I'm just going to mention a few. There are definitely a few other things. And most of these things I had to develop myself, because at that time I didn't know where to find them. And I'm grateful that I got to develop them, because now I understand them and I'm able to use them to coach everybody else who's in a financial rut or whatever that needs to come out, you know. So, well, the one thing I didn't develop is the Bible, definitely not. But yeah, I used the Bible because that was the pivotal point of my life. That was the point where I needed to start understanding myself first before I could do anything. I started journaling. I'm not a reader, I'm not a writer. But when I realized that when I started journaling, I actually got more clarity in terms of where I'm going to. Because I'm able to go back and be like, all right, yeah, so I've made progress. I'm not going to give up. I'm about to move forward. I'm about to do better and bigger things. So I would encourage those who haven't started journaling, just write down. Even if you can not like do it every single day, just start. At some point it will become habitual and you will be able to develop that mindset of, I need to write my plans down. I need to remind myself where I'm going. I need to remind myself what I want to do with my life. I need to remind myself that there are generations that are behind me, that are depending on me. Maybe you might not have children, but there's probably your niece, your nephew, whoever, who's depending on you to make it so that they don't have to go into careers that they don't want to do purely because of money. You know, I created a budget template that I had to follow, and this required so much discipline from me. And this goes back then to your mindset. Because discipline cannot be cultivated until your mind is in the right place. It is almost impossible to cultivate discipline until you've dealt with the mind, because you are almost most likely to go back to your old habits if your mind is not fixed and you don't understand your responses. The one other thing that I had to do is a reassessment tracker or a tracking template. So that essentially is something that I used to track my progress, to track the habits that I had, because when I was changing my whole lifestyle, I also said, these are the habits I want to develop. For instance, I want to wake up at 5 a.m. each morning. Tick. I have like a calendar. Monday, from the beginning of the month to the end of the month, did I wake up at 5 a.m. today? All right. At the end of the month, I'm like, okay, how many days out of the 30 days did I make it up at 5 o'clock? What is the percentage rate? So I'm able to measure these things. Yeah. So I created a tracker for myself to make sure that those habits that I wanted to now be something I live by are engraved in me. And now I don't need that calendar anymore to say I woke up at 5 a.m. I will wake up at 5 a.m. And another thing that I was privileged to have was my financial knowledge, because I've been in finance my entire life. So I was able to apply certain principles from that to basically get out. Because most people will be like, you were in finance. How did you get to where you are, like financially distressed and stuff? How did you get there? Guys, even people in finance sometimes self-indulge. I spoke to others on the same journey. I started attending such events where I got to interact with people who were actually there already, and others who were still trying to get there. I started exercising, and I realized that cleared my mind so much more, and I was able to think much, much clearer. And now, the result of my mindset change. From a family perspective, now we hold 2 title deeds. one of our houses are fully paid off, and what you see on the bottom left is my second house. Our cars are still paid off, my marriage is restored. I'm taking better care of myself, taking better care of the family. And you can see, my husband and I are still happy. From a career perspective, I was able to leave my job and focus full-time on business, and I was able to attract phenomenal clients. And I'm fortunate enough to actually even have secured a client that pays me in US dollars, you know. So that has been something that has been a little bit more fulfilling to me, because I've been able to work also with individuals to help them achieve their financial success. And from a spiritual and a physical perspective, I was able to become more fit, because now I'm not stressed about the money anymore. I'm able to take care of myself holistically. And I was able to also spend a little bit more time with God, get closer to God. And now I'm so much more at peace, and I'm even able to extend my help to others, because now I don't live from lack, I live from abundance. Yeah, that is the end of it. Anybody who's got questions, they'll have an opportunity right now to ask questions. And yeah, if you want to contact me or whatever, these are the details that you can reach me on. And yeah, I'll open up the floor to questions. We've got 5 minutes to ask questions.
Yes.
Yes.